Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. Today I'm talking about a very essential ingredient from our kitchen, the onions, and how to grow onions. So do onions actually grow from bulbs or seeds? Let's take a look. So whenever we purchase onions from the supermarket or from the grocery store, we notice that after some time they start to sprout and have those green stems. So these green stems can be harvested and we can use them to garnish a lot of dishes. So they are really flavorful and they add a mild onion flavor to our dishes. So they can be added to noodles or soups or fried rice or different dishes that we make at home. But when we are planting these bulbs in the garden, what happens and do we get new onion bulbs from these plants? So let's take a look at what happens to these plants after they are planted in our garden. So once they are planted, they grow a lot of new green stems which are really flavorful and they can be harvested. So I have a few onion plants in my garden and this is one of those onion plants. And after they are harvested and after these green stems grow for a few weeks, they start to bloom and produce these beautiful white flowers. These white flowers attract a lot of pollinators to our garden and are really beneficial when we are growing a lot of vegetables in the garden. But these do not produce new onion bulbs for us. After these start blooming, they start producing new seed pods, and these seed pods produce new seeds. So every little seed pod has at least 5 to 6 seeds in them, which we can harvest once these blooms dry and go completely to seed. Another benefit of planting these onion bulbs in our garden is the smell of these onion plants or garlic plants. They prevent a lot of pest attack, and when we are doing organic gardening, it is essential to have a lot of companion plants in our garden so that we can prevent a lot of pests in the garden. So these plants, as I mentioned earlier, do not produce new bulbs. Instead, they start flowering and they go to seed. And once these seeds are harvested, we can plant them in the ground to grow new onions for our garden. So onions are actually grown from seed and not from bulbs. The bulbs only produce seeds, and in the next season we need to harvest these seeds so that we can grow new bulbs of onions. But when it comes to growing shallots or garlic, they grow as multiple bulbs from each plant. So these multiple bulbs can be separated and planted and they grow back into multiple bulbs. So in our garden I have some garlic, shallots and also onions that I have planted. When growing onions from seeds, the germination rate is a little lesser than when we try to grow shallots or garlics from bulbs. When garlic and shallot is grown from bulbs, they just need to multiply and they grow pretty quickly and they can be harvested in a shorter period of time than growing these onions from seeds. So when growing shallots, we can just pick up the shallots from our counter and separate them if they are already bunched up together. We can separate them and individually plant each bulb into the ground, which will over a period of time multiply into lots of shallots for our kitchen. So on my channel I have already shared a few videos of how to grow these onion seeds from bulbs and how to harvest all these seeds that we can grow during the summertime. So usually April-May is the month that we usually plant onion seeds so that we can grow. And I have been growing onions from seeds and also garlic and shallots from bulbs. I'll share the pictures of all of this that I have been growing in our garden. So if you are wanting to grow onions in your garden, the best way to grow them is from seed, because if we are going to just plant these bulbs that have sprouted in our kitchen, they are not going to grow new bulbs for us. So it is going to be disappointing for beginners if they just plant an onion bulb from the kitchen hoping that they would get new onions that they can harvest from that one bulb, because they do not multiply and they do not grow into new bulbs. So they only produce these beautiful flowers which are great for the garden. They look really beautiful in the garden and they also prevent against a lot of pests. So I hope you liked today's video and the tips that I shared. And please do keep supporting and subscribe to our channel for more gardening related videos. Thank you for watching Fresh from my garden.